Good morning from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks, and today I'm going to do another food for thought video. I realize I haven't done a video in a couple of weeks, and I thought I better put something out there. It's been a busy fall already. Is it fall? It kind of feels like fall, at least here, because it got cool and rainy and windy and blustery, and so it feels like fall here, but we've been busy the last couple of weeks. Today I'm actually busy as well. We have another event for the group we foster for, which we're working tonight. So it's another busy day, but I thought I would at least get this recorded, hopefully get it edited tomorrow, and hopefully published by tomorrow night. That's my goal. We'll see how I do. I don't know how everybody else is doing, but my September is just as slow as my August. But then again, I have not been putting parts into inventory. I've not really been doing anything with the business, haven't been doing much with my YouTube channel. So if things are slow, it's totally on me. But I am curious if other people had a slow August and September. If you did, go ahead and put it in the comments below, because I would be interested to hear how everybody else is doing, or if it's just me. So my first one that I want to read has to do with the non-shipping seller, and I found this one kind of interesting. Had my first NSS the other day. Biggish order, was missing 2 bricks. I had no contact from the buyer, just the NSS. I've sent out missing pieces, let the buyer know, and asked them politely to remove the NSS once they're satisfied the order is fulfilled. My question is, does having an NSS show to buyers or affect the algorithms for suggested stores, etc.? I've had a drop in sales since I got it, not sure if it's a coincidence and it's just the usual in-a-month slump or something to do with the NSS. Also, can I get it removed myself, or do I have to wait for the buyer to do it? There's a lot going on in this. The first thing is, I was really surprised that a buyer would go the NSS route for just 2 missing bricks. I always thought the NSS was if the entire order wasn't shipped. I did not go and research this, but there were comments that I think that's against Bricklink rules because the order was shipped. It was just missing those parts. You've sent them out, so technically you're not a non-shipping seller. I think the buyer jumped the gun a little bit there, especially for 2 bricks. Unless they were very rare bricks, then maybe. But he did say it was a biggish order. And I know with a lot of our big orders, stuff gets overlooked just because there are so many parts that you're pulling and packaging. I was a little surprised by that, but to answer some of his questions, which was, does it affect your algorithms? I don't think it does. If somebody out there thinks it does, please put a comment below, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't affect anything that other buyers can see unless that buyer decides to leave a negative or neutral feedback. Then other buyers would see that. I think it's just a coincidence that things slowed down in his store, and probably because he's hyper aware of what's going on, that he's making a connection that isn't really there. I don't know how it works with the NSS. I believe if it goes against Bricklink policy, because he obviously did ship the order, they got, probably 98 to 99% of the order. I don't think that really the buyer should have left an NSS, and I believe Bricklink will remove it, but there's been a lot of complaints about Bricklink lately that they don't respond to issues like this. I think they're too busy trying to just keep up with the database to worry about buyer-seller problems. And that's been a big complaint, not recently, but overall, that Bricklink generally doesn't respond well to these buyer-seller situations. I haven't had a situation, no, I take that back. I've had one situation where I wanted to have a negative feedback removed because somebody left me a negative feedback because I shipped their order, an order they ordered, and they said, well, I didn't order it, my kid ordered it. And next thing I know, not only was the negative feedback removed, but the user was no longer on Bricklink. So I think somebody somewhere saw something, or this guy realized that he screwed up, or the kid did, and removed the account. For me, it was pretty quick, but I don't know about things like this. So I'm just curious, has anybody else ever gotten a non-shipping seller for a situation like this, or something else, like maybe you did ship something, they just didn't receive it? I've had, I think, a couple of people that are like, oh, you didn't ship it. It's like, yeah, I shipped it and it was delivered, but because they couldn't find it or it was stolen off their porch, it was not my issue at that point. And I never did hear back from those people that were trying to tell me I never shipped it. So kind of along the same lines, because he was saying end of the month slump. I've never noticed an end of the month slump, but this is kind of along that same lines. Does anyone find a certain day of the week they get the most orders, or is it fairly random? Some people were saying, yeah, they get more orders on the weekend, especially Friday night, Saturday morning, because people are starting to put sets together for their weekend. I personally have never been able to find any rhyme or reason to win during the week, during the month, or even during the year where I would get more sales or less sales. Because I can go a couple of years looking back and say, oh yeah, August was a slow month. Oh wait, but for 2 years here it was one of my better months. So I've never been able to find any rhyme or reason to getting more orders, having a better month. It's just one of those things. It depends on what I have in stock and what people need during the month. I don't think that there's any real rhyme or reason to it, but there was a lot of people that were saying, yeah, the weekends are better, or, you know, Thursday and Friday are better. I don't know how they're looking at that, but for me, no. When I'm having a good month, I will get 2 to 3 orders per day, period. That's usually what we get. Yeah, we might have a day or two where we get more. I guess if I was really pressed, I would say that yes, we get more orders probably from Friday evening to Sunday evening than we would during the week. But at the same time, that's not always true. There'll be one day during the week where all of a sudden people are ordering stuff, and I don't know why. It's just that I happen to have what they're looking for. And I think that's all it comes down to. You can, if you have a huge store, then you might be able to track some of that. But I think when you have a small store like I do with between 60,000 and 120,000 parts, it's going to be based on what you have in stock that people want is what's going to bring people in. And I think right now, for whatever reason, I don't have in my store, because I still have 102 to 103,000 parts, but all of a sudden my sales dropped off. But it could be that the parts I have are not the parts that people are looking for. But at the same time, I had a 200 part order the other day. So, you know, it's for me, there's no rhyme or reason. If there's a rhyme or reason for you, let me know, because I'm curious if other people have noticed that there's certain days or weeks during the month or months during the year that you have more sales. I would really be curious about that. This is another one that I kind of found interesting. Do you have to have a registered business to become a seller? I've tried to figure this out without sounding like a complete newbie, but without getting to where you're already filling out the registration form, I can't see any mention of it. This really depends on where you're at, not only in the world, but like within your state, your county, your city. And a lot of this is just local laws, and you might want to look into this, especially if you have a bigger store. Smaller stores, you're not going to have to worry about it as much. But especially here in the US, depending on how much you make and what your state tax laws are, you may have to be a registered business, or you may have to be licensed in some way, or it may just be a matter there's special forms you have to fill out for your taxes. I've said this before, we have a tax accountant. The first year and a half, we tried to do it ourselves, and my husband had no idea what he was doing, and he was getting frustrated, and we were making enough that we thought, oh, we better be claiming this on our taxes so we don't get in trouble. And our tax accountant figured everything out for us. As for being a licensed business, we're not licensed. However, we did sign up with our state Secretary of State as a business so that our business name was licensed. So somebody can't come in and say, oh, I really like the name Montana Used Bricks, and I'm going to take that and use that for my business. they can't do that because we have it licensed in our state. Nationally, I don't know, but I don't know anybody who in another state would want a business called Montana. So I'm not sure about that, but we did license our business name so that we're good there. I think if we get to a certain amount of money that we're bringing in, then we might have to look at some of those business licenses. But right now, we're really not making all that much after we pay all our expenses and pay taxes for our business and that sort of thing. We're not making enough to have to be a registered business. But like I said, I would look into your city, county, state codes and figure out what you need to do for a business just to be on the safe side. Especially if you start really making money at this, you want to make sure that you're putting your money aside for taxes. Don't just assume that you're not making enough or you're trying to go under the radar, because you know that's the kind of stuff they get you for. So just keep that in mind going forward. Okay, this last one is advice, and I love this so much. I'm just going to read it, and you guys can take from it what you will, but I absolutely love this. A little unsolicited advice for any Bricklink sellers out there who have trouble dealing with customers and see low sales. If your store is new and there is an issue with an order, send a return label and refund in full. Eat the $5, $10, $20, whatever. You need positive reviews until you have 750 plus sales. If you threaten to close your store as an attempt to get pity from other sellers here, just close it. Chances are you aren't cut out for this sort of thing. Take pictures of all orders next to a printed shipping label. This will save you a headache of buyers trying to scam or claiming something wasn't included. Stop whining. Bricklink is not easy money. If you want to grow and become a top seller, then just put your head down and do the work. This Facebook group is a lame place to complain about buyers. We've all dealt with frustrating customers, but you won't see a successful seller here bitching and looking for sympathy. So I especially like that last one because, as you know, if you haven't watched my last food for thought video, go back and watch that one, because I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is part of that, is that somebody called out a buyer on the forum, which they should never do. You should never call out a buyer or a seller for that matter. You want to work that between the two of you. And I've had more comments on that last food for thought video than I think any of my other videos. So I really appreciate everybody watching it and commenting. But I have to say that I really do agree with this. You see it all the time on the forums and the Facebook group and other communities that people are like, I might as well just shut down my store. I'm not making any money. You're going to go through phases like I just talked about. You're going to go through phases where you're going to be having so many orders you don't know what to do. And then you're going to have those months or weeks where you're not getting those orders for whatever reason. And it could be 1,000 reasons why you're not getting those orders. My thing is, yeah, it's been really slow. And yeah, I can look at it and go, oh, maybe I should just give this up. But I'm looking to use this as a retirement business. And I know if I just stick it out and I keep adding to inventory, if I'm fair with my customers and I work with them on any of the issues they have, I'm going to continue to grow my business. Do I always agree with what buyers have told me when they say they have an issue? No. But I would say 95% of the time, they have a legitimate complaint. The advice said, just keep your head down and just keep plugging away. And eventually everything will click and you'll start to see an increase in sales. You'll start to see an increase in that feedback and you'll just feel good about doing this business. That's it for this week's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button and I will see you in the next video. Bye.